Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. This is another one of those surprise readings. You're going to be seeing this on Saturday, March 26th. So, a couple of things. Obviously, I want to, take a peek at because we have the whole Jenny Thompson thing going on. We have the whole Clarence Thompson has been released from the hospital with this mysterious infection. And we have Mo Brooks kind of spilling some of the beans on Trump, asking him to rescind the election. That's not good. So, excuse me, Nova, this is a pendulum. You're not supposed to chew it. He says, but I could. Anyways, I have my pendulum in case any sort of yes-no stuff comes up. So let's start. I think I'm going to start with Mo Brooks because he's not the Thomases. Okay, here we go. Mo Brooks. So, he's a staunch supporter. He's a staunch supporter of Trump's. He was at that rally. I'm not sure what crazy statement he said. It might have been the Fight Like Hell one. There was talk, I don't know, or confirmed talk that he was wearing a bulletproof vest. So there's that. Let's see how he's doing. I'm just going to grab that card. Hang on. Okay. So, come on down. I have a question. So I want to take at Mo Brooks. So, he's giving like live and in-person interviews. Donald Trump has rescinded his endorsement of Mo Brooks, who is currently a rep but is now running for the Senate. So I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be successful with that, but it's Alabama, so no offense to my viewers in Alabama, but sometimes there's quite a shade of red there. Okay. Oh, before I start, for the astrologers that are out there in Soulprint world, would you please either send me an email at soulprint888@gmail.com or put in the comment section if this Mars-Saturn conjunction at 28 degrees that's going to be exact on April 5th, but it runs from the 4th to the 7th, if it's important. Okay, because I understand that, there's a lot of this sort of hyper talk about, explosions and big changes and these two somebody described it actually really well. They said when these two planets get together, it's sort of like you hit the gas pedal and the brake pedal at the same time. And all that happens is the car shimmies, but it doesn't go anywhere. So can somebody just let me know if I should be paying attention to this or not, particularly with regards, of course, to the Ukraine-Russia situation. Yeah. All right, let's take a look at Mo Brooks. Trajectory on Mo Brooks. What's going on with him? What happened? I guess his campaign people, the people who are trying to get him into the Senate, are, has said, like, listen, buddy, you got to move away from the 2020 election. But of course, in doing that, Trump feels absolutely betrayed and is, carrying on as only he can. So what's the story with him? Okay, so this is Nova. Once again, do not eat my computer or I'm going to make you go away. Stop. Okay, so he's starting off with Temperance. So I think initially the idea was to sort of strike some kind of a balance because he recognized, or the people who are working with him recognized that people want to vote Republican in Alabama, but people are moving away from Trump. And so I think what he was trying to do initially was sort of create a sense of, create a sense of kind of middle of the road. But of course, the slightest deviation from, the Trump Bible, of course, just sends things into an absolute spiral, because he can't handle that. So it's interesting, but you know what? I got to say, it looks like there is more information to come out. And it looks like there's going to be information, if it's not coming from him, then there's going to be information around him pertaining to funds, to finances, to money coming in to support either the January 6th situation or some of the events subsequent to that, and frankly, prior to that. So there seems to be a money angle here that we just haven't, it hasn't been exposed yet. We haven't heard of it yet. So he, after spending, years following around like a puppy dog, has decided to, look for new options, seek fresh ground. His words are having far more of a sonic effect. It's like a sonic boom, okay, than he anticipated. He thought that he could kind of say some of this stuff and it would just be like, a little bit of news. But what he's doing is he is absolutely confirming everybody's, sort of suspicions that, the wannabe king really, really was prepared to just do anything and have anybody do anything as long as, he got back into that office so he could continue to be, a Russian puppet and fulfill his obligations. So I don't think he was quite expected for the maybe vehemence, right? So now where he's at is he still has a lot of information, and I feel as if slowly but slowly that's going to start trickling out. You can only give the information kind of like that you're asked about, if you understand what I mean. Like interviews are sort of slanted a certain way, but I think behind the scenes there may be a lot more that he needs to talk about. And again, I don't know if he is one of the ones that was summoned to the J6 and then, snubbed them, or if he will be resummoned again. That wouldn't surprise me. Or perhaps the summon will get enforced. But he has a lot to say yet. All right. Now, he was hoping that this would sort of, I don't know, it would sort of, change his fortunes, if you will, that he would be able to move towards the Senate with more of a neutral or a tempered platform. Okay. Well, let's see if that's going to do him any good, shall we? Okay, so pendulum. Okay, so there's my ready to talk signal. Pendulum, is Mo Brooks going to, at this point energetically, is he going to win that seat in the Senate for Alabama? Well, right now that's looking like a pretty enthusiastic no. Okay. He's going to get caught up in some legal wrangling or some legal maneuvering, okay? He may sort of be in a bit more trouble than, I don't know, maybe than we think he is right now. But there's definitely going to be ramifications for the stuff that he knew about that he participated in that absolutely was against the Constitution, that absolutely was not part of how free and fair elections are conducted. Interesting, he has both the Queen of Wands and the Queen of Cups here. Oh, there comes the Queen of Swords. So there's definitely an energy that this is a female force. This is a female force of energy. So, is this talking about women on the January 6th Commission? Could one of these women be Liz Cheney, who, is likely to go after him harder than maybe the others? I don't know. But there's definitely sort of those legal implications. And frankly, it feels as if as this continues to unspiral, you're going to get some real emotional reactions. I was going to say from both sides of the aisle. I'm not so sure about Republicans, but I think that there may well be a few who sort of pull back and just try to distance themselves from him. Okay. So for right now, it doesn't look like he did himself any favors at all. He's got news coming that I don't think he's going to exactly like or appreciate. But, what is that expression? You go to sleep with dogs and wake up with fleas? Now, I'm sure none of that happens to all the dog-loving people I know, because I have to tell you, I've slept with my dogs for years and years and years, and I never got fleas. But the expression stands, right? Okay. I want to take a look at Clarence Thomas. So this is interesting. I think I'm pretty sure that I have referenced before in earlier videos that I saw him potentially as one of the people who would be leaving the court. And I wasn't ever quite clear if it was due to illness or scandal. And of course, this last 48 hours, I guess, has frankly proven, both. So I want to see if he's actually going to step down. Also, the other one that when I see, I'm not exactly sure he's going to be around too much longer, is I believe it is Judge Alito. He is the one that sits to Thomas's right, and he always sort of looks like he was sucking on a sour lemon. Not the most attractive look for anybody, frankly. Okay, let's take a look at Clarence Thomas. Let's see. Let's just see. Okay, and one of the questions that I want to ask the pendulum, I'm not going to ask the pendulum if he in fact had COVID. I'm not going to do that because, some stuff in this world, surely to God, must still be private. However, that does not prevent me from asking, is whatever infection Clarence Thomas has or is recovering from, is that likely to have some longer term health effects or impacts on him? And that's a yes. So that's interesting. That's interesting. Insight, Clarence Thomas, Insight, Clarence Thomas, Insight, Clarence Thomas. Ooh. Oops. Okay. So let's start with okay, they're all jumping out at us. There is a lot of stress and turmoil around him. He is, the phrase I'm being given is obstinately aware. Okay, so he is absolutely aware of the flurry and fury, frankly, going on around the name, around his wife, around his voting to dissent on like releasing text messages, because that seems to me a bit of conflict if it was his wife's text messages that would have been part of that investigation. So that's sort of interesting. So you have both the Two of Cups and the Lovers here. This is about his marriage, okay? This is about that partnership. Listen up. Based on this, they are far more in sync than we would hope, that we would anticipate, even that we would expect from a Supreme Court justice. The unit between the two of them is like rock solid, okay? If there's any aggravation or frustration or stress connected to this, it is because she was not opaque enough. She was caught up in the moment and she said things in text messages that she should have realized somewhere down the road could cause a problem. Okay. But as far as if he thinks that she's right, if he thinks that he agrees with her, from what I can tell, they really are in sync. So this is where he's at now, right? There is definitely stress and worry over this. And, this is a really interesting thing. But as I step into kind of energy lately, just broadly speaking, there's a whole lot of concern being whipped up by a whole lot of people pertaining to my legacy. What is going to be said to me about me after I'm gone? What is, my footnote in history going to be about? And so there is this sense that he doesn't think he's on the wrong side of history. Make no mistake. But he is now wondering about, I think, his standing with the other justices on the Supreme Court. Okay? Because really, really, even though there apparently is not a law or any rules in terms of when Supreme Court judges should recuse themselves, this one was it's coming across a little bit as a no-brainer. Publicly, you are going to see him assume a sort of a defensive posture. What did I just say? Obstinately stubborn. So there's going to be a lot of, I have nothing to say. I don't involve myself in my wife's work. How dare you? I'm above reproach. Those kinds of sort of aggressive responses to being questioned at all. But that doesn't mean he sort of escapes unscathed, because again, this is the thing you got to think about. So Bob Costa and Bob Woodward, who broke the story, were allowed to see certain text messages that they based their story on. And nowhere does it say they got to see all of them. So it feels very much like there is still more that is either in preliminary stages. It hasn't been, flushed out a bit. It hasn't been sort of looked at from a bunch of different angles, but it feels to me like there's still more coming. So, this is the thing, right? He's going to have a decision to make. And, listen, I want him to show up whenever sort of the next sitting is and say, listen, my bad. I think I need to step down. Logically, intellectually, emotionally, we all want that to happen. What I'm trying to figure out is if he actually will. So he's going to have to make some decisions. And they're going to be decisions in some kind of crazy way. It almost feels like in some ways they're going to be decisions that I almost want to say protect his wife or his marriage. Don't ask me. I don't know. He is not going to surrender his seat on the bench willingly. Okay. In fact, it feels very much like there needs to be a bit of almost like a backlash. And so I'm about to digress. Hold on, everybody. I have a question. Have I missed the news? Or has there not been any sort of a civilian backlash in terms of, emails, text messages, letter writings, phone calls to Alan Bragg's office and to the Supreme Court offices? I'm just asking. I'm Canadian. But it seems to me that some of the stuff that is going on has so enraged people that it kind of makes me wonder if if that anger is being sort of productively channeled, so that the people or the institutions that are kind of the source of that frustration are not being sort of made aware. I mean, there was the resignation letter by one of the lead attorneys into the Trump investigation. And, his letter of resignation was very clear. It was like, we have what we need. We all think we have what we need. And you have made basically the wrong choice. You've made the wrong decision in choosing to just slow this whole process down and not proceed. So it makes me wonder if there are not people who should maybe perhaps not start a bit of a campaign. Just asking. There we go. Okay. So yeah, he's not going to give up. Ultimately, though, it feels as if he is going to ultimately make a decision that, at least to some degree, honors the law, and to some degree salvages his assets, his marriage, his whatever. But listen, don't expect this to happen right away. I think what's going to happen now is there's going to be sort of that, let's all be quiet. Let's pull back. Let's just sort of stay under the radar a little bit. To the best of my knowledge, it's not like Ginny has come out and defended the things she said or argued about the things she said or said they were taken out of context. Just saying. So I think what you're going to see now is kind of this, don't ask, don't tell sort of. We're going to keep quiet and we're going to see what else could possibly come out. And again, remember, she has her copies of her messages. She knows what she said. And you can make darn sure that he's going to know. If he doesn't already, he's going to know what she said. Although I suspect that since in one of her messages she did reference the fact that he had given her a pep talk and she feels much better about overturning the government. Good Lord. But for right now, I sort of see almost like a little bit of a holding pattern. But listen, there's so much more to come out. There's so many more communications to come out. And ultimately, it's going to really, really put him in a super precarious situation. You have the Nine of Swords starting this situation and the Ten of Swords ending it. His reputation, one way or the other, feels definitely like it's going to be like irreversibly damaged. Okay. Because it would have been so easy for him to just say, I think I should recuse myself about this. But no, You know, that kind of arrogance. God Almighty, there's a lot of arrogance flying around these days. But that kind of arrogance, I think, is I don't know. It's becoming old and stale and tedious, and I think more and more people are getting really frustrated with it. Oh, just let me quickly mention, if you are seeing this video first, you might want to take a look at the video that was released yesterday morning on Friday. That is a video about, you know, the former guy and his family and what's going on there. Honestly, one slap in the face after another could not happen to a nicer or more deserving guy. Let's move on, shall we, to Ginny Thompson. Thomas. What's going on in her little world these days? So the world and the Ten of Wands flew out. So an ending, heavy burden. Yeah. I think there's one more shuffle. Hold on. Okay. So, as a result of her fondest wishes, there's now the energy of destitution, of being an outcast, of sort of marginalized. And apparently, from what I understand, she is a really big mover and shaker in the Republican sort of party, you know. Joe Scarborough this morning on Morning Joe referred to her as revered. I don't know if she's going to be so revered now. No. All right. Here we go. Insights, Jenny Thomas. Insights, Jenny Thomas. Insights, Jenny Thomas. Definitely she's going to be wounded by this. Okay. She's going to find in some ways herself a little bit like isolated. So this is an interesting dynamic that's happening, right? As the J6 gets sort of deeper and deeper, and remember what's going on in Eastern Europe, horrific, send prayers and love and keep up that dome of protection. But the J6 committee continues on. Okay. Oh, by the way, just in case anybody's asking or thinking, Judge Jackson absolutely confirmed she'll be joining the Supreme Court. Okay, back to this lady. So definitely a sense of sort of being a little bit ostracized, I have to say, sort of being shunned a little bit. Just like the people who were super, super loyal to the wannabe king, they also are facing that sort of same sense of, you know, more and more Republicans are kind of pulling back from the crazy about, you know, the election was stolen, yada, yada, yada. And they're more about starting to distance themselves. And that's going to be happening. You're going to see a pattern to people who were incredibly supportive either of the insurrection, of the big lie, or of that former guy. That they're going to start finding themselves in, you know, not what's going to happen is they're going to be cheered and revered in crazy circles. not so much in circles where the Republicans are at least trying to save face already. Yeah. So she has apparently, in a recent article, she has specifically said that, in fact, no, she did not pay for any buses. She did not hire any buses. She was simply at the protest on the ellipse. I don't know. I didn't see a receipt for the payment of buses. However, there was definitely more that she was involved in. Now, we know this because of the text messages being released. And we know that she was determined. She was in full battle mode. Okay. You do whatever you can, Mark Meadows, because this can't stand. We need the rightful president back. And I mean, she was not wishy-washy on this, even kind of a little bit. Okay. She was super charged up. And there sits her husband on a little bit of kind of rocky ground here now, doesn't he? Because his standing has been sort of, and listen, um, his some of his decisions are already being quietly maybe questions or are raising an eyebrow. But now that this has come out, in some ways, it's going to put him under the microscope. But remember, for right now, as near as I can figure, you're going to get that, stubborn obstinance. Okay? So this is where she's at right now. She thinks, she thinks that she is going to win this battle. Now, maybe quietly she will have give up on the notion that Biden is an illegitimate president, although maybe not. Publicly, maybe she'll give that up, but certainly not privately. But she thinks she's going to win against the law. She thinks that there is going to be an outcry from Looney Tune supporters. But where she ends up is back again to this Five of Pentacles. And there's going to be some harsh judgments coming her way. So she's going to face that sense of being ostracized. She's going to face sort of the repercussions and ramifications of this. Now, saying that, I think it might take a little bit of time and maneuvering, but it would be very interesting to see if January 6th committee subpoenas her. I think they very well might. I think they very well might. And it's going to be very interesting to see what she does with that subpoena. Yeah, she's going to get communications that she doesn't like. And she's going to have to make a decision about moving forward. So it kind of looks like there may well be a subpoena coming. I don't think it's right away. I think there's going to be a little bit more stuff, perhaps that gets leaked, a few more text messages. They had Mark Meadows, or a portion of Mark Meadows. I'm not even sure anymore. But he's also, of course, in this scenario, he is also coming under fire again. Let's see already if the Department of Justice actually charges him with contempt or whatever it was because he hasn't showed up. Because you can't tell me that a text message conversation between him and Virginia Thomas has anything to do with executive power privilege. I don't think so. She's going to suffer for this. She really is. Yeah, look at. I mean, she's not going to be this isn't going to be good for her as this unfolds. What my caution is, don't expect it to unfold by next Thursday. Okay, because that's not going to happen. They're going to move very, very cautiously about subpoenaing someone like her. I'm sorry, we don't like it. We hate it. But powerful people have powerful friends. But you've got her walking away. You have a theft here, and I have to tell you, it feels almost like the theft of her reputation, the theft of her standing. Although maybe it wasn't stolen from her as much as she threw it away, but be that as it may. And now you've got the Seven of Cups here, and so that's talking about that kind of, listen, she's the one who wanted, oh my God, I blanked on her name again. The lawyer, the tall lawyer, leopard skin sweater, who, by the way, apparently, you know that press conference where that Sidney Powell, where she was wearing that leopard skin sweater and Giuliani was like sweating hair dye. Apparently, there is a message from her saying that when Giuliani was speaking, it moved her to tears. So, I guess she's sort of getting in line with the cuckoos. I don't know what to tell you, but you know, things are continuing to deteriorate around the 2020 election in terms of that big lie. Oh, apparently, in case you haven't heard, Arizona Maricopa County has finished their 4th audit. And well, unfortunately, yep, Biden won by more than 10,000 votes. Oops, that's the 4th time those things have been counted. Do you think they're going to stop? Let's take bets. All right, I digress. I hope you enjoyed this. As I've said before, listen, if you are not, if you're subscribed but you haven't hit the notification bell and the all, you're not going to get notified when I put out these sort of sporadic videos. And given everything that's going on right now, you can sort of anticipate that that may become kind of a little normal as more information is released on a day-by-day basis. So if you really don't want to miss anything, please hit the notification bell and the subscription button. All right, so it's still the weekend. Have a good one. Enjoy. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.